tako da je meta bila sve što je živo.
Ajmo da ih opletemo, frka ide sad, sviđi do durlanja da čuje ljudi.
Pravac Potočan i Bratunac, nemoj se zaustaviti, hajde!
This is one of the darkest chapters in human history, the genocide in Srebrenica. In less than a month, more than 8,000 Muslims, mostly men and boys, were killed. And survivors have testified about torture, rape and other unimaginable war crimes committed by the Republika Srpska army. About 40,000 people, mostly women and children, were forcibly displaced.
Ja sam general Mladić. Među vama ima i vojno sposobni koji ste do sad na mene pucali. Svima vam opraštam i poklanjam život.
As the 29th anniversary of the genocide approaches, surviving victims warn that the history is repeating itself in Palestine's Gaza. How long did it take to achieve minimum justice for the victims of Srebrenica? And should the international community, instructed by the past, react faster in Gaza? The International Criminal Tribunal of the former Yugoslavia and courts in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Serbia sentenced over 50 people to more than 700 years in prison for the crimes committed in Srebrenica. The highest officials of Bosnian entity Republika Srpska were convicted of genocide. The first war crime confession came in 1996 in The Hague.
Ja sam svome braniocu rekao da se izjašnjavam krivim.
The soldier was sentenced to 5 years in prison for shooting about 1,200 men on the Branjevo farm.
Kad sam odbijao da radim, rekli su mi, ako mi ti je žao, stani ti s njima da ih tebe ubijem.
Another 17 people pleaded guilty after that. The first verdict establishing the genocide in Srebrenica was handed out in 2004 to Radislav Krstić, who was sentenced to 35 years in prison. 5 people were sentenced to life imprisonment, including Radovan Karadžić, the first president of the Republika Srpska and former commander of the Republika Srpska army headquarters Ratko Mladić. The crimes we witnessed in Srebrenica are being witnessed in a similar form today in Gaza. Srebrenica, where the genocide was committed before the eyes of the whole world, was a UN protected zone. Just as today's safe zones in Gaza are the scene of the greatest bloodshed, and just as Netanyahu is currently blocking humanitarian aid from entering Gaza, Karadžić did the same with Srebrenica.
Karadžić imao dugoročnu strategiju koje je cilj bio prisilno uklanjanje bosanskih muslimana iz Srebrenice putem namjernog ograničavanja humanitarne pomoći, kao i otvaranjem vatre na enklavu od strane snaga bosanskih Srba.
Serbian and Israeli generals also use similar rhetoric.
I napokon došao je trenutak da se posle bune protiv Dahija Turcima osvetimo na ovom prostoru.
שלא הם, לא אמא שלהם, לא הילדה שלהם, לא התינוקות שלהם. Nemojte da mislite da nećete odvesti Bosnu i Hercegovinu u pakao, a muslimanski narod možda u nestanak.
As in 1995, the West remains silent today. A drastic change is noticeable in the views of the current US president, who had this to say as a former senator.
Not only did we not protect, we affirmatively, the United Nations and the West, affirmatively disarmed those safe areas, took their weapons and said, we promise you in return, we will keep the Serbs from the door. They knocked on the door, knocked it down, and there was nothing there for them to defend themselves with. If these were not Muslims, the world would be reacting. Just like if it were not Jews in the 30s, the world would react. Shame on the West.
Contrary to allegations against Israel made by the International Court of Justice, what's happening is not genocide. We reject that.
Israeli leaders also deny war crimes, just as Serbian leaders continue to deny the act of genocide that was formally recognized by the International Court of Justice in The Hague in 2007.
The charge of genocide leveled against Israel is not only false, it's outrageous, and decent people everywhere should reject it.
U Srebrenici se dogodio stravičan zločin I ne postoji opravdanje za taj zločin.
I do not think it was a genocide.
While humanity is still healing from the wounds of 1995, UN experts believe that there are plausible reasons to believe that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza.
History teaches us that genocide is a process, not a single act.
The Republic of South Africa is suing Israel in the International Court of Justice for the genocide in Gaza. Proving the truth about what happened in Srebrenica has been ongoing for decades. The question arises, how many lessons does the world need to learn so that the verdicts for terrible crimes are reached more quickly, and that mechanisms to stop these crimes become more effective?